The implication is that the proceedings of the Senate will stand suspended until the Mace is produced. It will be dangerous to go and manufacture another one. They must get to the root of this criminality and find the one that has been stolen. But for me, I believe, having regards to the facts and circumstances of the invasion of the National Assembly premises this morning, I think the National Assembly leadership and all the legislative houses in the country are being told that they must learn to operate under the law and not above the law. In other words, no legislative house can suspend or remove a member. Only a court of law or the constituents that elects them can do so.
Well, we're turning our attention right now to what transpired on the floor of the Senate yesterday at the National Assembly. And joining us right now is Mr. Bello, who is a professor of political science here in Abuja. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much.
I was going to ask you quickly, what did you make of what happened yesterday? Were you in shock when you saw what happened?
Let me confess, because as a Nigerian, and grew up in Nigeria with the system that I know, I'm not surprised.
You're not?
I'm not.
So you did ever think that, you know, one day some people can run into the National Assembly, seize the symbol of authority, and get out of the...
This is a country that nothing is working. Everything is upside down.
Wow. So that wasn't a surprise to you?
It's not a surprise. More could happen.
More
because
could happen.
we have Nigerians, majority are more of brigands, greedy, selfish individuals who think of themselves first before others.
You know, Professor, I have to ask you, how do you counter that? How do you counter that? If you're an ordinary Nigerian citizen watching this program now, and you hear this from a learned professor, how do you counter that? What do you do about that?
What we do is that the pillar, the foundation of Nigeria is weak. The elites in Nigeria are not performing to expectation. Political, education, religious, economic elites are not performing up to the expectation. So that is what I'm trying to explain. That we need to change as elites, both in the academia, both in the business, both in politics, even religion. We need to change. A lot is a burden to come to a level we are as elites. And we're not performing. Some don't even know how they came there to become an elite. Some don't even know what is expected from them. So members of the Senate, House of Representatives, even in the academia, some don't know the position they are holding.
You've witnessed the country kind of develop over the course of your lifetime. So I want to ask you what you believe the root of this apparent waywardness is.
What I would say is that I've said it. The foundation of Nigeria elite is weak. The recruitment into leadership is weak.
Is it weak in terms of education? Or?
Not the education, in terms of best practice. We have certificates, long certificates. Have you not heard of a case in University of Obafemi Awolowo University in Ife, where a professor cadre can stoop so low and be awarding mark on demand for sex? It's embarrassing. Professor. Thank God he has been suspended. Well, a committee has been set up on that.
We understand that there are recommendations to suspend him. But then let us quickly look at what transpired yesterday. We saw a suspended senator come into the National Assembly in company of some unknown people suspected to be thugs. We saw much later those people go and take the mace and then run out of the National Assembly. Before then, the conversation had been whether the National Assembly, that's the Senate, more specifically now, had the, you know, the legal backing to be able to suspend him at all? I mean, we've heard legal minds weigh in on the on that particular matter. Some say, well, the Senate can based on their rules, and some say no, they can't. Only their constituents can. But then we've seen a number of reactions. We've seen the Senate President commending his colleagues in the National Assembly, the Deputy Senate President and his colleagues, saying that they defended democracy. We also heard Senator Omoagege say that he had nothing to do with stealing the mace, that he only came in there because he got new facts as to why the Senate did not have any powers to suspend him. What did you make of all that happened and the reactions that followed after?
I'm still insisting. Most of the elites in Nigeria are always playing politics with every serious thing.
Where would you say the politics is being played now? Is it from the suspended senator coming back to the National Assembly, for instance?
In all the sides. We have to look at issues. There must be consensus among us, the elite. There should be consensus of give and take. If you see that a crisis will come, I remember even the electoral bill that is being, electoral law to be amended. There are good things there in terms of electronic voting, in terms of even PVC. PVC was not there before, and the Supreme Court nullified it. That you can't use, you don't put PVC in your electoral law. You cannot use it to sanction somebody. So all these fine clauses are there. But look at it now. The one that is shining and overshadowing all those good provisions is the issue of reordering, which to some of us is apart. Either it's reorder, it's not reorder. Let the election go on. What is important is that we need an electoral bill or electoral law that will take care of electronic voting so that we can have a free, fair, credible election. We need PVC. Because of reordering of election, this could be thrown away. The same thing happened in 2014 or so, during Obasanjo time. Third time, spoil all other provisions in the provisions of amendment in the Constitution because of third time.
Not much so, in 2005, I believe.
We need to reconcile ourselves. We need to have consensus among the elites in Nigeria. We have not reached. We are fighting ourselves on LD issues, on LD rivalry.
It sounds from your submission that you're suggesting that essentially this was illegality paying back illegality.
It looks like that. Because our recruitment into leadership, into politics, into almost everything is weak. It's weak. People find themselves somewhere higher where they are not prepared for, where they are not even qualified, not certificate. They are certificates. But in terms of best practice, that what is expected of me, within you and your mind.
You're talking about the moral issue, intention, things of that nature?
It's not even, we're not even talking of moral, ideal. It may not be moral, it may not be religious, ideal. Even if you are not going to church and mosque, there are some expectations that you need to display. If you are not displaying it, there's something wrong somewhere. That I'm a senator, distinguished senator. I'm an honorable member. There are certain things that you don't need to do. We have seen them fighting in the house before. They tore their clothes in the National Assembly. So that's why I said I was not shocked. Because they have done it. They've thrown share on one another. Even some have fallen down, and at the end of the day, when they took them to hospital, they gave up.
So then, how would how do we make sense of what happened, and how do we begin to resolve, to ensure that things like that do not happen again? For instance, what do you hope to see from yesterday, to first of all send a message that this kind of behavior cannot be tolerated in a place as hallowed as the National Assembly?
I will appeal to we the elite, the political, the academic, the mass media, that we should be thinking of the best practice. What is expected of us? We should ask ourselves questions every time. When you are going to the assembly, what is expected of you to do? If something happens, what way can you address it?
So are you sharing the blame equally all around? Do you think that the members of the National Assembly are also to blame for the conduct or the alleged conduct of one of their colleagues? Or who precisely do you think should be thinking about, should be reassessing or looking at the best practice, for instance?
I'm appealing to the generality of Nigeria elites, either in the assembly, National Assembly, or outside the assembly. Because our contribution, the civil society, the news media, the discussion we are doing now, what are we saying? Are we taking position based on interest? Are we taking position based on politics? Those are the things we need to look at. How we appeal, it's just an appeal. Because we are getting to a stage now that we don't need to apportion blame. You are right, you are wrong. We have passed that stage.
Yeah, but shouldn't that happen as well? Shouldn't people be taking responsibility for what transpired yesterday?
There's no doubt about that. I learned that the senator has been arrested. I learned the Mace has been found.
We understand that he's been released.
At least the Mace has been found, and so on and so forth. Are you getting it? Nigeria is a complex society. Complex is that the highest you can do under democracy is to arrest the senator that you are the suspect. And suspect does not mean you are a criminal, according to Nigerian law. Then you take him to court. You will get bail. He will go back home. The case will continue for the next 4 years. He will appeal after the judgment to the appeal court. The appeal may take another 4 years. After the appeal, he goes to the Supreme Court. So it's the elite in the judiciary, why can't we fast track our judgment system? So that any culprit, any criminal could be found guilty.